every 2 weeks if they're coming a distance, so. With that mix, you might have a regular oil mix in their area, so that's why I wanted them to know the size tank. And
What did they tell me? Did you contact Carroll County Oil?
I don't think they're on my list. I don't know why, no.
I think they were one of the only ones that was in the Our Town Energy Alliance. For the off-road.
And what was that company you had mentioned?
I use Deer for short.
You had mentioned one.
Oh. No, there's some.
And the other one is the propane and they use over in Brookfield. Can't think of the company. They
Was it Dead
sponsor.
River?
No. They've had them sponsor some stuff over there and they supply gas. LP gas, it'd be interesting to get a quote from them.
C.M. Brown?
It's kind of Maine. I'll have to ask Brad.
Down east?
Down east.
It's a P or something.
That's a good one too.
I use
Down east
that.
is another one
I
that you
use
might
that.
want to look at.
It's not Rhymes.
Not main gas.
Somebody's naming
I
it.
tried Emery Mills. They do the delivery, the K1 and the oil delivery mixed. They come over here as well. So it'll be interesting to see what everybody gives us. But I think some of the small companies may not want to come as far, towards the month.
Well, they might. It puts them in a new territory.
Thank you, Jen.
Okay. Tax collector.
I made one copy of my tax lien, which of course corresponds with the check on this evening. I can make one for each of you. It's like 10 pages. I didn't really think it was necessary. But I can if you wanted to.
No, save the tree.
Okay, I have had correspondence from the people doing the closing on Dolores Thomas's house. The only thing that's outstanding there is the deferral. I have asked of other tax collectors what they use for a form to remove the deferral from the Registry of Deeds, and they all plead they don't do it. They don't have anything to do with the deferrals. Once a deferral is made, the selectmen handle it all. Okay, I don't mind handling it and working through me with it, but I'm going to have to look into finding out. We have the form, the application form that we use to get it started and to get it the lien filed, but we, at this point, don't have anything that shows us how to remove it once a payment is made. When a payment is made, I can receive the check, however, it does not go into my books because I have abated it from my system.
Right.
So it will be going directly to Mary Lou, and I'm sure she's already worked as to where she is going to put it within her system.
I've been thinking about it.
You've been thinking about it. That's
Well,
all we can ask.
It would go into, lien redemptions?
No, because it isn't. Well, I don't know.
You're redeeming it's like a deferral, would be like a lien.
It is, but it doesn't come through the tax office.
Right, I understand that.
So it goes,
I would say it's gotta have a different line.
I don't think you want to combine it with my lien redemptions.
Yeah, I do.
Under the
Property
tax-
taxes other?
Under the system.
You know what, I'll look at the DRA.
We'll see,
Charter
as I
account.
say, they, you know.
Do we get the cash from them before we give them the
Deferral.
deferral?
Before removing.
Yeah, before the deferral's
We
removed.
have the money first.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Put it in the bank and get it cleared before you remove the deferral.
There are no fees charged to the town when it is put on or when it is removed from the registry of deeds. I called them before I gave a payoff date amount to the closing people to make sure, and they said, no, there are no costs because it is considered kind of welfare type thing, so they don't charge any cost for filing it, and they don't charge any cost for removal of it.
Was the check cut at the closing when they do everybody gets their checks for everybody? That's when they cut the check?
That's when they will be cutting the check. I have not received it yet, they've had the closing, but I have not received anything. I did say to send it to the 7 Palmer Drive address, just to keep it out of you getting a whole lot of, stuff that you don't know what to do with, and then I will pass it on.
Okay.
To the treasurer from there. It won't go on my books, but it will be passed directly with a notation of what it's for.
It's a property tax, right?
It's a deferral of the property tax.
But it is property tax.
Correct.
So it would go under property tax other, I would assume.
Unless there's a specific DRA account for deferrals,
Right.
in which case I'll
Have
Yeah,
to-
add the
we'll just
number
have to
and-
find out. We just have
Yeah.
to look into it, do a little bit of homework and figure out exactly. This was our first one ever, so it's good to know. And it's also, I think, very good that we've got our feet wet on this particular.
Yes, it leads the way for future
That's
issues.
right. That's right. I received a phone call and had a very lengthy conversation with a gal from Judd Bradley's.
Jeb Bradley's office, yes, I
She
spoke to Jeb.
also
Go
left
ahead.
a message on your, I believe, your cell phone.
Actually, I spoke with her today.
Okay, good. She, said she needed to.
Yeah.
Same old, same old. I went into great detail explaining to her the whole tax collect system and what I do and why we do it. And it's backed up with RSAs, and no, we are not picking on any individual on their own. She was very quick to say she had already assessed the situation and realized that we had a whole big problem.
Yes.
So, but she did say that this individual is complaining now that she hasn't had anything in writing pertaining to partial payments. So I think, I want to encourage you that I think we need to go into executive session sometime and sit down and hash out what we're going to do.
No, what I need from you is the total amount of taxes due for 2011. And we will run from it. We'll run with it from there.
I think that 2009 are going to be paid, but however, at this point, they have not been paid.
Okay, I'm not worried.
I am scheduled to do my tax deeding this Friday. I can hold off on doing it for another couple of weeks if you wish me to do so.
Well, you had spoken.
Because Bank of America has said that they are going to pay this.
Right.
And that's the only one outstanding at this point.
So what we would want to do is, if we haven't received it by,
I'd say the next selectmen's meeting.
no, I would say by Thursday, when you come in Friday, are you
That's
holding?
this week,
Right, and you said that you're doing them this Friday.
correct.
Okay. If you
That is
haven't,
the official day to do
okay,
the
if you
deed.
haven't received a payment from them by Thursday, when you come in Friday, I would call them and find out what's going on. Depending on how they answer you, would determine whether or not that we would hold off on it for a week or two, or proceed with the deeding.
Okay, that's all I
Is there
want to do.
any, if we go past the end of the month, does that create a problem by our holding up a week or two?
No, I have in the past discussed with DRA, and they've always said deed within a reasonable period of time. However, they have never been forthcoming with what they define as a reasonable time.
Mhm.
They just said, 2 weeks is a reasonable time, 2 months isn't a reasonable time. So basically.
I would think if you have, if you've kept a log of your conversations with the bank,
Oh, I have.
and so that should an issue come up, then you can always say, spoke to them, it was promised.
Yep.
You're now over 2 weeks, and we've, as far as we can.
So if they haven't actually,
Changed the
yeah,
situation drastically.
if we haven't,
for the town.
if we haven't received payment from them by Thursday, I would call them Friday, and depending on the answer that they're giving us, at that point, we give them a deadline.
In other words, if they say that they're still processing it, say we have a deadline.
You have 10 days to have the check in our hands, or the property goes to deed. That's within our rights.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
So
I'll really be the bad guy.
for 2000,
Probably the governor will get the next call.
I'm sure he's already received a call or two. But I do need the official amount due for 2011, so I can get that addressed. Okay.
Not a problem.
And part of that conversation was with Senator Jeb Bradley's office was the request for a monthly payment plan to be put in writing. And that's what we will do. And we will get it in writing, we'll have the attorney draw it up so it's a legal document and it's drawn up correctly
With a notary.
yep, and then it will be sent to her, to the town, and to the senator's office. And then there's no question or not whether, if we're treating anybody fairly or not.
Oh, there'll be questions.
Well, there always is.
We know that, the sun will come up tomorrow,
Are you sure?
positive.
Okay.
Right now,
At least I got another day to look forward to, right? All right, anything else?
I'm all set.
Okay.
I'm gonna get that figure for you before I go home.
Administrative assistant,
No, assessor clerk.
assessor clerk.
Okay, I have an abatement from Northern New England Telephone Operations. You know how we were they were assessed for $659,300. They're asking for an abatement of $250,800, which brings the figure to $408,500. So I have advertised recommendation, or I just write a little thing on it, and this is for you to sign, clip.
So what it
If you
is,
approve
Avatar's
it. If you want to read.
recommendation.
What did they pay last year? 0, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, this is a
the
new
first
thing.
year.
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
As you are aware, Northern New England Telephone Operation has filed an abatement via its agent CPTM. The abatement offers an opinion of taxable value of 0, but proposes a value of $84,500 as an offer to settle, but offers no details to how they arrived at the value. No miles of lines, number of poles, miles, or conduit, or right-of-way value analysis except to say 0. As such, with no supporting documentation, the application has little value. However, Fairpoint, or rather Northern New England Telephone Operations, NETO, provided a report several weeks ago listing all the poles for each town in a 76,000 line report. We sifted through this report to find a more accurate number of poles in town and revalved the poles in right-of-way as well as added any conduit they provided. The correct value is poles 156,100, conduit 25,650, right-of-way 222,700 for a total of 404,500 at 101% equals 408,500 with an original assessment of 659,300 and abatement of 250,800 is in value is recommended.
What did they say on the poles? New England?
Northern New England Telephone Operations.
Does that count the electric too, or how's that working?
I think just telephone.
Oh, that's for a special thing.
Hello. Hello. He said, yeah. Okay.
Don't talk so loud.
I'm just so lonely.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So what New England,
Yes, where'd they get their data from?
Northern New England Telephone Operation has sent a section E and F. The assessment is illegal and unconstitutional. The municipality has violated the New Hampshire Supreme Court's dictated in Verizon New England Incorporated versus City of Rochester, docket number 05-E-400, 401 and 402, November 9th, 2006, as well as the Verizon New England Incorporated versus City of Rochester, 156 NH 624 of 2007. The assessment also violates other of NNE's constitutional rights, including, without limitation, the unequal evaluation of poles and related equipment among different types of entities, e.g. telephone and electric, and by taxing poles and conduit as real property. For these reasons, the assessment should be abated in full. Notwithstanding these violations, NNE hereby asserts for settlement purpose only that the value is poles valued at $84,483 and right-of-way valued at $0. So, Gary doesn't address that from Avatar, and apparently this is the way that he suggests that we go, is to drop the assessed value down to $408,500. So we would be abating $250,800 in value recommended.
Does he have a different tax rate for the telephone company, electric company? You know, when we did all this, is this the one thing this one figure, or they have a separate tax bill for the electric company and one for the telephone company and one for the cable company?
They're two separate, it's on the map and lot, so it's each separate.
So
each of those entities should be paying something.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think only Northern New England Telephone is the only one that hasn't been up to this point.
Okay.
Look it up, yeah.
So we're according to Gary, where the abatement request is granted, revised amount, or denied.
Right.
The date, and then selectmen signatures.
Why? I thought this is going through the court system to see whether whether it's legal or not.
Have a seat.
So if it's going through the court system to see whether it's all going to be refunded or none, why should we abate anything? Didn't I hear they were going to take us to court? They were taking the state to court? Or
Yeah, they were taking the whole system thing to court.
yes.
But I am curious as to the legal precedents that he is, that they are quoting here. And Gary had nothing to say about those.
It's Lauren, it's all Lauren.
Okay, Lauren didn't have anything
Yeah.
to say.
No,
Apparently then that needs to go through.
now some towns didn't even accept, they didn't do any change at all. Like Wakefield,
Yeah.
they're just holding off, they're just waiting. They decided not even to do the change, to
Don't-
charge.
Don't abate or don't
Don't,
charge.
didn't even assess what they said. You had your choice whether or not you wanted to. I know that they didn't, they're just sitting on it. So, I can get some more information before we even,
But we paid,
look at it.
a fee
I know we did, yeah.
for us to be able to do this.
Yeah,
where they did
because
pay the fee.
Avatar, they recommended us to do that and to do this change and to charge the.
No, we
fees,
were
you know.
required to do it.
I don't know why, how the Wakefield, they just never did.
Does Wakefield use Avatar?
They do not. Some
Because I remember
assessors are
the
different.
$1,500, it was $1,500 and we were
Yes, yes.
questioning it.
Yeah.
So,
I guess my point is, it's not gonna be over, they're gonna still work through the courts.
yeah, before I sign, can you get a hold of Gary and ask him about this
This whole
section
thing?
E and F
Yeah,
and about where it stands in the court system?
They might be getting it all back.
Well, I think it would be money we certainly could use. Well, we could, but in other words, if we got, I don't know how many, $10,000 for the sake of argument, I think that should be something that is, would go into the general fund. And I think that should be something above and beyond, because we might have to pay it back at some time if we don't
Exactly.
touch sort of a,
Entry like an escrow tax.
yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
all get settled.
This is still in court.
Well, they're not gonna pay it until it's done in court anyway, no matter what we assess them. They're not gonna pay anything
Court,
until
they
the
need
court's
the same
done.
legal precedents they're listing there.
Yeah, and I
It's
think
the
that's,
same thing they're using in their big
Yeah.
case.
but yet they're willing to settle, so, I mean, even in here, it says that, you know, they're willing to settle to make their poll's worth this money, but all the land that they own on that right of way, they don't wanna pay a dime on that. So, that sends up flags of concern for me.
Mhm.
So we need to check with Avatar to find out what he thinks of this or what his recommendations are on this section E and F and where it stands in the court system. And once we have that information, then we can make our decision to either take it to the, take it up to the town attorney and see what she says, where we stand. But if we follow the recommendations of Avatar, then they have to defend us. That's just part of the contract. If we don't take the recommendations of Avatar, then we're on our own to defend ourselves. And that's not a legal fight.
Yeah, I understand.
We pay Avatar to give us sound advice, and to this point, they haven't been too far off. So, but I would just like clarification on those points of issue, and at that point, once those have been done, then we can do the abatement.
Okay. I got one.
All right,
Okay,
send it on.
2 current use applications, oh, I'm sorry.
Yes,
The property that the poles and lines go over, do they own it or do they just have an easement? Most of the telephone power companies, they just have an easement.
Right,
They
right of
still
ways.
Own the property, somebody else. I don't know what it is here.
I'm not sure
They're-
how that works, and that would be another good question to ask Gary on the right-of-way. Do they own that property?
They don't own the, I
Yeah,
own
but
the
you-
property where the poles go over my property, we own it. It's
You won't, they have an easement.
That's right.
But you can farm it underneath.
I can do anything I want. That's
Yeah,
right.
you're limited to what you can do on that easement.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
but I mean,
right.
Most places you could farm.
But I
it.
get taxed on it by,
You could
by the
put
town.
building there.
Right. So, and if that's the case, then they don't own those right-of-ways.
I don't know.
See, to me, that's a gray area, because I don't know enough about.
Who gets taxed on the right of way?
He gets taxed on his.
Are you sure, or is that taken out when they do the tax?
it's not taken out.
And they don't think, they figure that in when you're having, if you sold your property, that you have a right of way that they can't use,
It's not detailed out in the property card.
All right, next.
Okay, 2 current use applications. This particular individual, people like that, he already has a bunch of current use. This is 2 lots that are abutting his larger lot. He was just getting that into the mix.
2 applications to approve current use on is map 28 lot 2, map 28 lot 2-A. Both of these lots abut his current use property located at map 29 lot 7, making the lots contiguous. Oh, my good friend Charlie Robbins.
You're not joining the lots, you're just,
No, they're
No,
not
it's just
joining
that
the
they're
lot.
touching,
So as long as they're
over 10
touching, they
acres,
can put it together.
yeah. He had to change his deed in order to do that, so he did that on both of those pieces of land. That's why you see the deed there. Before it was in a different name, Mead Dam LLC, and the other one was
Yeah, now it's Cook's Pond LLC.
Yeah, now it's under Charles Robbins and his wife. Because
Right.
all the names have to be identical
Right.
in order for them to qualify.
that.
Current use.
Okay, and this has been ran by Avatar and they don't have a problem?
Yes.
So we're going to approve?
So that's going into current use.
Yes.
Right, which
What,
means if
3
you ever,
acres
takes
or
it out.
something?
well, this one here is .22 and .4. So 2 acres on this one. So if he ever decides to utilize it for anything else, build on it or sell off that lot, then he has to pay the current use land change tax.
Yeah, the cards from Avatar. and- I think Bill has the assessment cards, what it goes from and then to
Yeah.
the amount, so.
Oh, it's not here.
These are just all the correspondence and property cards.
Yeah.
so how much roughly does he save on this?
It's quite a bit.
Yeah, it's like, I bought a
Rich
business,
has them.
it's lakefront. So he's going from 137 down to 225
$137,000 to $225.
dollars.
I know.
And